Hello again, class. This is Mr. Smith, and this is 3.6, Graphing Linear Relations. To warm up, we're just going to evaluate each expression for the given variable. So this is something we've done in Unit 1, so it should be review for this. If we have 2x minus 4 for x equals 4, you just sub in the value for x into your expression here. So you have 2 and then 4 minus 4 equals, well, 2 times 4 is 8 minus 4, so you just end up with 4 overall. Next up, for question B, we have -1 plus 3b. Solve for x equals -6. Same idea, you just sub in -6 for the x value, and then you're going to solve that. First you multiply, because we follow the rules of Bedmas. 3 times -6, that'll give us -18. So -1 plus -18 should be -19. And our final example for our warm-up, -x plus 5 for x minus 2. We just sub in the -2 in for x, so we have -2 plus 5. That becomes +2 plus 5. 2 plus 5 is 7. There we go. A relation can be written as a set of ordered pairs that can be graphed on a grid called a Cartesian plane. This grid is made up of two intersecting number lines called the x-axis and the y-axis. Each ordered pair is made up of an x-coordinate and y-coordinate written as xy. In brackets, the x value goes first, then the y value. The origin is where x and y-axis meet and has the coordinates 0, 0. The origin is known as 0, 0. In our first example here, we need to plot the ordered pairs. We have 2, 4, so we look at the x value first, and the x value is the horizontal, so I go over, it's +2, so 1, 2, then up 4, then 1, 2, 3, 4. So my first point right here, this is A. And then for point B, we have to look at -2, +1, so we go back 2, 1, 2, and then up 1 right here. This will be point B. Next, for point C, we have +5, -2. So on our x-axis over here, I should label this x and this y. And then I go up 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm going to go down 2 because it's -2 for the y value. This is point C. For D here, we have -1, -3, so -1. I start at the origin, I go back to -1 on the x value, and then down 3. 1, 2, 3, right here. And that'll be D. It's point D. Point F is +4, +4, so I go from the origin 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I go up 1, 2, 3, 4 here. And that will be point E. Sorry, it's a little tricky to draw on this tablet sometimes. There we go, point E. Point F is -3, +2, so I go back 1, 2, 3, then up 2, 1, 2, and that's point F right here. There we go. A relation can be written in the form of an equation, a table of values, or a graph. One method to graph a relation from an equation is to create a table of values. So we're going to see those two different methods. This should be blending kind of what you've learned in the past, especially like plotting points. You've seen how to plot points before from a table of values. This is just slightly different. Here on example 2, we have y equals 2x minus 5. And this is kind of playing into what we did back in Unit 1. So to start this, we're just going to sub in the x value to solve for y. So really what we're actually doing, I'm going to write on the side here, I have 0 I sub in for x, so I have 2 times 0, because I'm using this equation up here, minus 5. Well, 2 times 0 is 0, minus 5. 0 minus 5 just gives me minus 5. Now I'm going to sub in 1, so 2 times 1 minus 5. Well, 2 times 1 is 2. 2 minus 5 is negative 3. Then I have 2 that I sub in for x, so 2 times 2 minus 5. Well, 2 times 2 is 4. 4 minus 5, negative 1. Same idea again. 2 times, well, I'm subbing in 3 for x. And the values that I'm getting to sub in are just over in the left column here under the x. So 2 times 3 minus 5, it's just positive 1, because 2 times 3 is 6. 6 minus 5 is 1. Then we have 2 times 4 minus 5. 2 times 4 is 8. 8 minus 5 is 3. So let's graph this first, then we will come back and do the next question. So first I'm going to plot these points. When x is 0, y is negative 5. So at 0, well, first we got to label these axes. This is the x-axis. This is the y-axis. And then at 0, I go down to negative 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right here. Next point is is at 1, negative 3. So 1, negative 3 should be here. Next point is 2, negative 1. So at 2, negative 1. Then positive 3, positive 1. And then 4, 3. So at 4, positive 3. And then you should be able to draw a line through this. So I'm actually going to use my line tool. All right, I'm back and I drew my line. Notice that at the end, of course, you would use a ruler to draw this and try to line up the first and last point, because that'll give you the highest accuracy when you're using your ruler, if you're doing this on pen and paper. At the very ends, you should have arrowheads, because this line is continuous. Same with your axes. These lines are continuous. They don't just stop where the graph stops. We do this to demonstrate that these axes go beyond what we've drawn. These lines don't just stop when they're written like this. Okay, our next example, let me just change the color of my pen. So for B, I'm going to use blue, and it's the same idea. You just sub in for x, whatever is given over here, to find your y value. So we'll start with negative 2 plus 3 times negative 1. So 3 times negative 1 gives us negative 3. Minus 2, we get negative 5. Then we sub in 0. So we have negative 2 plus 3 times 0. We get negative 2. Next we have 1. So we'll have negative 2 plus 3 times 1. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 plus negative 2 gives us positive 1. We have negative 2 plus 3 times 2 this time, because 2 is what's given over here. So negative 2 plus 6, because 3 times 2 is 6, will give us positive 4. And then negative 2 plus 3 times 3. Well, 3 times 3 is 9, minus 2 gives us 7. So here we're given our points, our x and y values. Our x is negative 1, negative 5. So at negative 1, negative 5, right here in blue. Then we have 0, negative 2. So at 0, negative 2, in blue again. 1, 1. 2, 4. So at 2, 4. And then at 3, 7. At 3, 7 up here. Then you're going to draw a line through these points. Remember, line up the first and last points to get the highest accuracy, then put arrowheads on each end. So I'm going to do that now. And we're back again with the lines drawn through the points that were given. For my next one, I'll have to use a different color. I'll use green to demonstrate what we're doing. And in this case, we have a slightly different predicament. And we're going to see with these points again. So for part C here, we're going to be subbing in for x, this x value to solve for the y values. Okay, so we have negative x plus 3. So we have negative 2 for our first x value. So we have negative 2 plus 3. Well, negative becomes a positive. So that's positive 2 plus 3. So this becomes positive 5 for our y value. Then we have negative 1 because we sub in negative 1 plus 3. So negative becomes a positive. 1 plus 3 is 4. Negative 0 plus 3. Well, negative 0 is just 0. So 0 plus 3 is 3. And you should be seeing a pattern. Then we sub in 1. So negative 1 plus 3. Negative 1 becomes negative 1. So negative 1 plus 3 is just 2. Then negative 2 plus 3. Negative 2 plus 3 becomes just positive 1. Now let's plot these points. The x value is negative 2. Y value is positive 5. So I go left 2, up 5. So it should be right here. That's our first point. Then negative 1, 4. So I go left 1, up 4. Then the next point is 0. 0, negative 3, so 0 and then up 3. Then positive 1, so I go right 1, up 2. And the last point is right 2, up 1. Look at that. It goes down. It's a negative line in this case. So I'm going to draw a line through this, and I'll be right back with that. And that's it for that graph. I drew in my third and final line. You guys should take your time through the practice. This should be enough to kind of guide you through everything. Next up, we have 4.1 because we're jumping into Unit 4. If you have any questions, of course, you always can email me. You have my email